Alright, your hazmat material incident response curriculum guidelines, emergency medical service, the hazmat material webmaster, advanced life support responder. Introduction, emergency medical service, the hazmat material webmaster, advanced life support responder. Respond with the EMTB level or higher shall meet all of the comments with the emergency medical service, the hazmat material basic life support was responded defined by the National Fire Protection Association 473, and even the guidelines shall meet with the comments recommended by the National Fire Protection Association 473. In the section of the emergency medical service with the hazmat material advanced life support responder, in addition to the emergency medical service, the hazmat material advanced life support responders shall meet with the training requirements, local occupational health and safety agencies, OSHA, emergency protection association. Emergency protection, environmental protection agency, emergency medical technician A certification standard appropriate for the required for these jurisdictions. Decontamination, precipitation for the rescue personnel with the critical staff of these individuals have come in contact with the foreign agent with the cover either short or long term of the medical problem, the ramifications, contact with the foreign agent, long term chronic acute with the need to have the medical training for the personnel of the emergency medical technician, paramedics, conducting the decontamination procedure, the imperative of the self explanatory, even the certified emergency medical technician, the paramedic with the training with the hazmat material to deal with the decontamination operation will result in a higher level of care and ability to provide the effective physician patient assessment pre-hospital care with the benefit that will involve these type of the operation emergency medical service, the hazmat material advanced life support responders expected to be analyzed to determine the magnitude of the problem that the hazmat material incident, the criminal and the terrorist incident involved with the hazmat material related weapons mass destruction. They also expect to plan a response to provide the appropriate level of medical care decontamination procedure that involved with such incident that provided the medical support hazmat material response personnel implementing and terminating the response. Medical service, emergency medical service that has material advanced life support responder of person who within the normal activity may be coupled to perform patient care with the decontamination activity warrant zone with the air. For the personnel equivalent to the decontamination house zone with the support taken with the hazmat material into the criminal terrorist involved with the hazmat material with the related weapon, the master emergency medical service that has material advanced life support responder should be coupled to provide the care with the infill of those ill pose with the significant risk secondary contamination addition personnel level should be able to coordinate emergency medical service to activate the hazmat material incident to provide with the medical support to and decontamination hazmat material response personnel. Training audience, the emergency medical service that has material advanced life support responders of the public, except for the private sector individuals shall be the responsible provide with the coordinated with the emergency medical service to see with the hazmat material incident scene of the criminal and terrorist involved with the incident involving the hazmat material related weapons mass destruction, including the select of the emergency medical technician paramedics as well as the members of the industrial fire brigade at the time of the patient and the care of the responsibility set for the incident on-site, off-site, related health safety performance. Standard of the OSHA Title 29, 1910, 120, Environmental Protection Agency 4311, the National Fire Protection Association 472, 473, 1561, Standard of the Emergency Services, the Incident Management System Command System 2014 edition, U.S. Fireman Administration, and Emergency Incident Rehabilitation Guide 2008, the recommended with the stage and regional local training curricula should constitute the entry level of emergency medical service with the preparation for continuing hazard material training with the hazard material incident, the hazard material related with the criminal terrorist incident, cover the emergency medical service, the basic life support provided with the personal responding should have then trained the emergency medical technician be level of the equivalent medical methodology of the recommendation. The emergency medical service that has material advanced life support with the responding training should include the combination of traditional classroom like with a small group of activity fields of exercise involved with the work with the incident command structure, simulated the emergency hands-on cycle, motor skills, clearing with the content instructions should be focused with the contamination over the head of the decontamination procedure, the health monitoring treatment procedure, the incident scene role with the responsibility training of the activity should focus with the assessment and analyze the hazard determination appropriate procedure. Skill training should focus with the implementing decontamination patient care procedure the use of the appropriate personnel with the protective equipment the practical examination highly recommended measure achievement of the initial training refresher programs to support the employees responsible for emergency medical support that has material advanced life support responder personnel to be trained with the competency to be informed before being called to perform the emergency medical support that has material advanced life support function of the emergency tabletop of the field exercise should focus on the active of the incident roles on the implementing procedure of the field environment refresher training should be conducted on a yearly basis should be focused with the technical updates on changes in response to protocol standard operation procedure renewal of the individual skill decontamination patient treatment and use of personal equipment emergency medical service that has met weapon mass destruction advanced life support responder audience moderate size of the training with the audience paramedics emergency medical service maybe to couple upon the decontamination patient with a warm and hot zone where hazmat incident with the hazmat related criminal terrorist incident scene prerequisite awareness travel emergency medical service that has material basic life support training EMTB certification. Like the training should be sufficient to achieve the competency with the method that should include the classroom, physical lab, and skill lab simulation. Field instruction emphasize decision-making, treatment, competency. Assessing incident scene having the risk for the patient, area secondary contamination. Incident scene with the response plan include determining personal protective equipment and even the define the roles responsibility, emergency management, emergency medical services, advanced life support, responsibility to perform emergency medical services, has material, advanced life support, patient decontamination, treatment in the war zone, incident scene, ability to perform post-incident emergency medical services, reporting, documentation, and follow-up. Annual refresher training with a recommendation, including the technical update chain with the response to the protocol to incident command system, standard operation, renewal of the retesting incident with the scene decision-making, war zone decontamination treatment skills. Recommendation training objective, the following training objective recommended with the emergency medical service that has material advanced life support, respond to the primary service that has material in the National Fire Protection Association 473, zero competency of the emergency medical support, personal response that has material weapon of the master destruction. In Chapter 5 of the competency that has material weapon, master destruction, advanced life support responder. In general, these recommended objects compared with the scope of the concept of the general requirement of OSHA respond with the personal properly trained with the form of the assignment that has material in emergency. The identification legend, the identify the object with the issue within guidelines to indicate the origin of the object that usually in National Fire Protection 472, 473, no OSHA requirements specifically support the objective, analyzing the advanced life support with analyzing the incident. Everything has material weapon master destruction. Given this scenario that has material weapon master destruction incident, advanced life support level of response shows, except for the nature and severity of the incident relate, anticipated with the actual emergency medical service responsible at the scene. Given the example of the following medical transport, vehicle with the corresponding with the ship with the identification of the victim that can be involved that has material weapon master destruction incident of advanced life support level of response show that with the general health of the risk based for the physical and chemical property with the anticipated content of highway transport vehicle, including cargo tanks and module equipment, including tanker container. The transport vehicle, including tanker cars. Given the example of the various hazard material weapon master destruction into the fixed facility with the advanced life support level of response should demonstrate the ability to identify the variety of the containment with the markings, include bulk and non-bulk packages contained with the drum with the underground, above ground storage tank with a specialized storage tank with any other specialized containment the authority having jurisdiction in the geographical area, though a general health risk of the based on the physical chemical properties of the anticipated contents. Given the example of the various habits of weapon master destruction into the fixed facility with advanced life support level of response should demonstrate the ability to identify the following job of the function health related resource personnel available to fix the facility has with weapons of mass destruction incident. Environmental health safety representative of the radiation safety of the occupational physical nurse physicians and nurses at site and emergency response team specialized experts. Advanced life support level of response should identify two-way with the attainment of the safety data sheet that has material weapon mass destruction shall demonstrate the ability to identify the following health-related information per chemical name, the system physical chemical property, health hazards, material design of the system, and exposure routes of entry, permissible exposure, limited emergency medical procedure, the recommendation, responsible party contact. Given this area, the various facilities transfer incident with the pipe relief of the snare of the maritime for any other unexpected that has material weapon master incident. Advanced life support, advanced life support level of response working with the incident command system must be evaluated with the on-site consequence of the release of the base on the physical, chemical, the nature of the related substance of the prevailing environmental factor that determine the need to evacuate, shelter in place affected area. Persons. Give the example of the following biological threat agent advanced level of life support level of responder to define the various types of biological threat the agent assigned the symptoms, exposure mechanisms, toxicity, and common period of possible disease patterns likely mean the dissemination smallpox, botulinum toxic, E. coli G15787, resin toxic, anthrax, Venezuelan equine influenza virus, Rickettsia, Yersinia pesticide plague, Turilium vero, hemorrhagic fever, and other CDC category A listed organisms and threats. Give an example of the various types of hazmat material weapon master destruction incident involving toxic industrial chemicals, downstream industrial material lister agents, blood agents, terminating choking agents, irritants, advanced level of life support level of response, determine the general health of the risk of the patient, exposed with the substance with identified those appearance may be kind of antidotes. Give an example of the hazmat material weapon master destruction on the list of laboratory advanced life support level of response should identify the general health hazards associated with the chemical substance that are expected to be encountered. Give an example that has material weapon mass destruction incident involved with the radioactive material that include the radioactive dispersal dispersion devices, the advanced life support level of response should determine the probable health risk of potential patient outcome, determine the type of radiation alphabetic gamma, the neutron, and potential health effects of each. Determine the most likely exposure pathway of the radiation exposure, including inhalation, ingestion, directed skin exposure. Describe how the potential cross contamination difference with electromagnetic wave compared to radioactive solid liquid vapor to identify the properties of the decontamination scenarios involved with reactive material. Describe the manner the acute medical illness with a traumatic injury can influence the decision, decontamination, potential, information, and transport. Give an example of typical with the pesticide containers advanced level of life support responders should define the following pesticide name, pesticide classification, insecticide, rodenticide, organophosphate, carbon make, organochlorine, environmental protection agency registration of the manufacturer, ingredients broken down with the percentage cautionary statement of danger, warning, caution, keep from the waterways, strength of the concentration, treatment information, surveying hazard material, weapon, the master incident, cloak with the interpreted with the head of the response information, advanced life of the report, level of responder, tell damage for the ability with the lead level of the various response runners to the head of the material, weapon, master incident following safety data stream, contract can, UTAC, IQ, request poison control center of the data emergency response guide book the National Fire Protection Association 704 Scientific navigation has material for the emergency response navigation system has material and information system local state federal provisional authorities ship the manufacturer contents any of the toxic substances design use registry and medical management guidance medical toxicological electrical databases identify the secondary vital given share involved with the hazmat material weapon master man's life with the report level of response show discover the importance of the bail within the over the secondary device prior to rendering the patient care of the bail with the scene of the likely areas where secondary device can be played with visually scan an open area with the secondary device before patient care avoid touching and moving anything with a concealed with explosive devices. Designating the front of the scene of the control zone and evacuate the victims of the respondent non-essential personnel quickly and safely as possible. Advanced life support responsible planning of the responsible. Identify high-risk and potential exposure to the advanced life support level to give the event over the calendar pre-incident plan with which can be included the local emergency planning committee plan with as well. The emergency response plan standard operation procedure. So now with the way the mass gathering and industrial facility potential target over the terrorism other location where the accident and initial release of the harmful substance can pose the unreasonable health risk to any person with a local geographical area determined by the authority having jurisdiction. In fact, a location that has material weapon mass destruction within store transport identified by the area's location potential for the have high loss of the life of the brave, the injury, the event, the accidental initial release of the hazard weapon mass destruction substance. Evaluate the geographical environmental factor that they have complicated the hazard material weapon mass destruction incident that include the prevailing winds, water supply, vehicle, the pedestrian traffic flow, ventilation system, and other nature of the man-made influences, including air and rail corridors. Determine the commitment of the local hospital network advanced levels of life support level of response should the best vehicle to be able to transport hazard material patients to determine the location potential routes of traveling following appropriate local regional hospitals based on patient need. Adult trauma center for the pediatric trauma adult burn centers, pediatric burn centers, hyperbaric chamber, the established field hospital, or special hospital medical centers. Give a list of the local, the receiving hospital authority having jurisdiction in geographical areas, advanced life support, and the responders should describe the location availability of the hospital-based decontamination facilities. Advanced life support level of response. Describe the advanced life support protocol with the operation procedure development authority having jurisdiction. Prescribe the role of medical contour control of the poison control system during mass casualty incident has material weapon mass incident. Exposure have the curve of the disrupted radio communication. Advanced life support response show the identify the following mutual aid response with the hospital and non-hospital pace. Identify the authority having jurisdiction of the field management multiple casualty incident mass casualty show the medical supply with the mass decent capability of the regional decontamination units. Replenishment medical supply during long-term incident location availability mass casualty and with exposure including but not limited to the following. Nerve agents, orso, graphic phosphate, pesticides, biological agents, or other toxins, blood agents, opiate exposures like the radiological exposure rehabilitation unit for the emergency medical service responders, relate for the transport of the vehicle of the lost due to the mechanical trouble collision, of the contamination, advanced life support level of responders should identify the special evidence associated with the inbound, outbound air transportation patients exposed with the hazmat material weapon mass destruction. Advanced life support level of response should describe the available medical information resource concerning the hazmat material toxicological response. Identify the instant communication advanced level of life support level of response should identify the component of the communication plan with the authority having jurisdiction geographical area to determine the emergency medical services with the provider that have the ability to communicate with other responders on team with the transport units and with local hospitals. Give an example of the various patient with exposure seen with advanced level advanced level of life support level of response should describe the following information the transport of the medical control voice the control center of the receiving hospital prior to arrival. Exact name of the substance involved, the physical chemical properties substance involved, the number of the victims being transported, 8 seconds of the transported patient condition of the chief compliant with medical history, circumstance of the history, exposure for the duration, exposure for the primary route, exposure with the vital sign of the initial crime of the system, describe the patient initial crime of the presence of the associated injuries such as the burns and trauma decontamination staff treatment they for the progress to include the effectiveness and antidote for the administrative effective as many times identify the role of the advanced level of life support responder, give the scenario that has material weapon mass destruction advanced life support level of responder shall identify his or her role during the hazmat material weapon mass destruction incident and specify the emergency response plan standard operations developed by the authority having jurisdiction. Describe the purpose of the benefits and element of the incident system have the relief of the advanced level of life support level of response. Describe the typical incident of the command structure, the emergency medical component, the hazard material, what the master structure, the incident, the emergency plan, response plan, the standard operating system, develop the authority having jurisdiction, demonstrate the ability of the advanced level of life support, responded to the function of the incident of the command system level, to demonstrate the apply the implement the incident command system with the hazard material, what the master structure incident where the incident command system does not currently exist, identify the procedure the requesting additional sort of the hazard material weapon master structure incident. Describe the hazard material weapon master structure advanced life support responder role with the hazard material the weapon master structure response plan with the development of the authority having jurisdiction to identify the local emergency response plan. Follow to determine the toxic effect with the hazard material weapon master structure and estimate the number of the patients. Recognize the set of the presence and severity of the system. Assess the impact with the healthcare system. Perform the appropriate patient monitoring and following the pulse, oximetry, cardio monitoring, and vitals. CO2, communicating patient pertinent information, estimated pharmacological need, the address of the threat and potential clinical latency, and estimated dose exposure, estimated dose of treatment, train and appropriate monitoring, supplemental medical resources, gives an area various hazard weapon masters, mass casualties, including authority, advanced life support level of response, identify the supplemental medical resources available to the authority have jurisdiction of the following, describe the strategic national stockpile program, including the following components, intent with the goal of the National Strategic National Stockpile Program, particularly required by developing the Strategic National Stockpile local jurisdiction, tickable supplies containing 12-hour plus packages, roles of the Technical Advisory Response Unit, determine the Metropolitan Medical Response System, including the following component scope and intent with the goals of the Metropolitan Medical Response System, capabilities, resources for the Metropolitan Medical Response System, and capabilities focused to the area of the Metropolitan Medical Response System. Advanced life support level, advanced life support, implementing plan and response. Determine the nature of the incident that provide with the medical care. Advanced life support level of response should demonstrate the ability to provide emergency medical to the patient and have the material weapon masters completing the following tasks. Advanced life support level of response determine the physical test over the released substance and environmental influence surrounding the release as follows: solid, liquid, gas, vapor, dust, mist, and aerosol. Advanced life support level should identify the potential route of the exposure correlated with the route of the exposure, physical state related substance for the original illness for the injury, inhalation, absorption, injection. Advanced life level of support levels of response should demonstrate the potential route of the entry of the body with the common time of the systems of exposure. Advanced life level should report optimum the proof of the authority having jurisdiction in advance. Airway management and drug therapy, including the antidote administration with appropriate exposure for the following classification: substance, corrosive, chemical asphyxiation, simple asphyxiation, organic substance, native agents, blood agents, choking agents, irritants, non-control agents, biological agent, toxins, anticipating and capacitating agents, radiological material with nitrogen compounds, opiate compounds, fluorine compounds, phenological compounds. Advanced level of life support level of response determine the basic toxicological principle levels of the assessment treatment of the personal scope that has material, including the following: acute delayed toxicological local systematic dose response relationship. Give an example of the various hazards systems substance of the advanced level life support shall give the the basic toxicological term that they relate with the treatment and exposure of the patient as followed: the threshold limit of the time weighted average, lethal dose of the concentration LED, LO, LD50, LDHI, LO, LCLO, LC50, LC high, parts per million, parts per billion, parts per trillion, immediate danger for the life and health of the person, limit exposure limit, threshold limit with exposure, term exposure limit, the threshold limited with a ceiling, suitability, poison, and substance that can cover the injury or illness for death, taxes, harm, nature of the related amount of concentration, evaluating the progress of the effectiveness of the medical care. Give an example that has material weapon master structure of the patient of the advanced life support with the level of response show with the progress of effectiveness of the medical care. Provide that has material weapon master structure and ensure the overall of the respondent subject along with the patient care with the goal that they're being met. Look at the track of the accident, patient that has material weapon master incident for the treatment of the transport appropriate personnel with the receipt of the incident and the object for the periodic interval for the ensure that the patient care that is being carried out with the overall incident response plan. Ensure the incident command system form with the complete along with the patient care form with the authority having jurisdiction during the course of the incident, the evaluate the need of the train with the qualified emergency medical service of the personnel medical equipment transport units of their supply of including antidotes based on the scope of the duration of the incident. Decontamination and exfoliation. Given the emergency response plan standard operation procedure developed, and given an example that has material weapon patient on authority, advanced life support level of response shall do with the valve. Given the emergency response plan with the support standard operation for the valve, the authority having jurisdiction and evaluate the patient decontamination activity performed, and everything responsible for the transfer and care of the exposed patient to determine the need of the location, patient documentation, decontamination, including the mass casualty decontamination event of the have been properly performed prior to the removal of emergency medical services. Um, Given the emergency response line standard operation procedure developed, the authority having jurisdiction to evaluate the patient decontamination activity performed prior to the accepting responsibly transferring the exposition and definitely transfer the information determining appropriate decontamination procedure how the instead of the reach over the head material water mass destruction incident. Given the emergency response plan and the standard operation procedure, the authority having jurisdiction to evaluate the patient decontamination activity performed prior to accepting the responsibility transferring the care of exposed patient. Given the emergency response plan standard operation procedure, the authority having jurisdiction in identify the supply of the equipment required to set up and implement tactical mass casualty decontamination operation ambulatory, non-ambulatory patients. Given the emergency response plan and standard operation procedure, the authority having jurisdiction procedure, equipment, safety precautions, security of evidence during the decontamination operation for the head material water mass destruction, and for the procedure, the equipment, safety precautions for the handling of equipment, weapons, and law enforcement, canine search dogs, brought to the decontamination corridor of the head material water mass destruction, and for the procedure, the equipment, safety precautions, communication with the critically urgently potential exposed patient population, prioritization management techniques, determining the threat of the cross-contamination, all respond to the patients, and completing the following tasks. Identify the head material water mass destruction risk of the cross-contamination, identify the head material weapon mass destruction agent, low risk of the contamination. Describe how physical state of the hazmat material weapon mass destruction provide the clue of the potential secondary contamination when the exact identify the hazmat material weapon mass destruction is not known. Or evaluating need for medical supplies. Give an example of a single patient. Multiple casual hazmat material weapon mass destruction with an instant advanced level of life support response to determine the available medical equipment to transport even the other supply, including antidotes will meet with the exceed with the expect with the patient care throughout the duration of the incident. Evidence of preservation. Given the example that has material weapon mass destruction into the criminal active, the suspect of the advanced levels should make with every attempt to preserve the evidence during the course of the delivering of the patient care. Determine the incident of the potential criminal nature of the cooperating with the law enforcement agent have investigated jurisdiction of the unique aspect of the criminal have the weapons mass destruction of the clue, the criminal scene preservation of evidence of preservation destruction, the potential evidence of the time of the medical patient of destruction evidence during the decontamination process. Ensure the information regarding the suspect with the sequence of the event during the potential criminal act, the observation being made with the patient presentation during the potential assessment of the documentation communicated based on the law of the enforcement agent have investigated jurisdiction. Medical support has material weapon mass destruction needs to give the emergency response and their operation procedure for the development of the authority having jurisdiction. An example of the has material weapon mass destruction authority advanced level of support, level of life support, describe the procedure of the performing medical support that has material weapon mass destruction response personnel. Or an advanced level of life support, level of response responsible pre-entry medical monitoring shall determine the head of the taxi information relief substance within designated head material technical reference reach over the other reliable source of the information on the scene of the following information conveyed by the entry of the team of the incident safety officer has material officer emergency medical services personnel at the scene of the responder responsibly health and well-being with the personnel operating the scene. The chemical name hazard class for the hazard toxic information applicable to decontamination method of procedure potential secondary contamination. Procedure the transfer of patient the constraint of the incident of the emergency medical personnel with the pre-hospital management of the medical emergency exposure, including the antidote administration. The advanced level of life support responders shall though with pre-entry health staff of the have the material weapon mass restriction prior to donating the personal protective equipment by performing the following tasks: recording a full set of vital signs, recording the body with measurements, recording general health observation, advanced level of life support responders shall demonstrate the medical fitness of the personnel charged for the donating chemical protective clothing with the criteria set forth the emergency action plan and standard operation to develop the authority having jurisdiction consideration excluding responder if they do not meet the following criteria prior to the working chemical protective clothing: core body temperature, the hypothermia, hyperthermia, blood pressure, hypotension, hypertension, heart rate, bradycardia, tachycardia, respiratory rate, bradyphenia, tachycardia, advanced life support level of response should determine the following factors, including the heat shift of the head of the material weapon mass restriction response personnel, the baseline level of hydration, underlying physical fitness, environmental factors, active level during the entry of the level of personal equipment, warm duration, entry of the cold stress. Alright, give an example of the various heads of the material weapon mass restriction incident with the requirement of the use of chemical protective advanced level of life support level of response complete following tasks, demonstrate the ability set up the operating of the medical monitoring station, demonstrate the availability recognized incidents and symptoms of the heat stroke, the heat exhaustion, heat stroke, the determined advanced level of support, life support need of the response exhibiting the effect of the heat stroke, the cold stroke, the heat exhaustion, describe the medical significance of the heat stroke, the importance of rapid transport and appropriate medical receiving facility. Given similarly, it has material weapon mass restriction incident, advanced level of life support, respond to the demonstration of the documentation medical monitoring, advanced level of life support, show that with the team member the decontamination, personal protective equipment, remove the following criteria. Pulse rate done in the first minute, pulse rate done in 3 minutes after the initial evaluation, temperature of the body weight, blood pressure, respiratory rate. Advanced level of life support, response should recommend that has material of the team member with existing with the following sign of the prohibited zoning and chemical protective equipment. Heat, strength of the heat, exhaustion, pulse rate, the tachycardia, cardia, core body temperature with the hypothermia, and hyperthermia, recovery rate of the trend, normal rate of the rhythm, blood pressure, hypertension, hypotension, while feels greater than 5% of the signs of the system, with extreme of the heat, the heat stroke with the requirement of advanced life support, aim live to the appropriate hospital. Advanced life support level of response of the immediate appropriate personnel of the designated emergency response plan team, the member requires significant mental treatment, transfer and arrange the appropriate design of the emergency response plan. Our advanced level of life support terminating into the report of the documentation into the upon the determination of the material what the mass destruction and advanced level support responders shall complete the reporting documentation emergency medical some of the determination activities required of the local emergency response plan acquisition standard operations procedure. Then for the report supporting documentation required of the emergency response plan standard operations procedure to determine the complete of the reports required of the emergency response plan standard operations procedure. Describe the personal exposure record. Describe the importance of the debriefing record. Describe the importance of the critique record. Identify the step of keeping the active belonging exposure records. Identify the step of the be taken to comply with the incident with the meet the federal, state, with the local organization requirement. Identify the requirements of complying with the personal protective equipment laws. Identify the requirements of filing the documents, maintaining records. Describe the list of information gathered regarding the exposure to all paid with the describe the reporting procedure, including the following detailed information, substance release, pertinent information on each of the payment traded and transported routes, the extent of the duration, exposure action at the time of the limited exposure to decontamination activities, identify the method you the authority having jurisdiction, the availability transport unit, potential contamination process, locations available to decontamination of these units. Alright, your hazmat material incident curriculum guidelines, emergency medical hazmat material, web the mass restriction, life support, mission specific competencies.